Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Omega Seamaster Professional Planet Ocean 45.5 millimeters in titanium. You can see this extreme dive watch on our website, watchyouwant.com. Purchase it there. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. You can also click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of this video at any time to see our full listing for this watch, with accessories included, extra high-res images, and of course complete pricing details. There's also a link to our website below in the description box. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that this is the larger of the two primary Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean case sizes. There's the 42 and the 45.5, and you can see even on a 16 centimeter wrist, the larger 45.5 is very wearable. Now that's aided and abetted by the fact that this reference is entirely in titanium. The bezel, the case, the bracelet, and the clasp really reduces the mass of the watch on the wrist so that it feels substantial, it has an impressive stance, and it looks every bit as visually impressive as the steel counterpart. It's just more bearable from a weight perspective, and that's good if you have a smaller wrist like mine. Now I would say the lower limit for wearability on this watch is probably a wrist of 15 centimeters. It is 17 millimeters thick, so you can see with the outward cantilever of that bezel as well as the helium release valve, it's not going to fit under the slimmest and tightest of sleeves and cuffs, but you should be okay with a sport jacket or a blazer. Now there are two ways of measuring the lug-to-lug measurement. There are the lugs themselves, which you can see plainly enough, and if I were to measure between them, I would find 51.5 millimeters of span. But this watch does feature a bracelet with solid end links, and the end links crop outward, as you can see, increasing the span of the watch, so the absolute outermost rigid points, when measured, actually project approximately 57.5 millimeters across the wrist. So this is a watch perhaps for those who have a broad range of wrists, but the ideal shape, not necessarily size, but ideal wrist shape for this watch is probably an oval profile, fairly flat across the top to deal with the broad stance of this watch, but everything that touches the wrist is superb. Now you can see that Omega has a gorgeous 3-link bracelet here. 3 links. They are polished on their outermost flanks, and I'll show you that to good effect in the light box here. Beautifully polished on the extremities. This is a finish rarely seen on titanium. We're used to seeing it matte. We're used to seeing it with a satin grain finish. The polish is beautiful, and in my experience, titanium tends to hold a polish better than steel. Now the satin finish on the top mutes the impression in the light. It makes it a little bit more subdued, perhaps stylistically a little bit more versatile, and it better expresses the underlying gray tones of the titanium. Now you can see on the underside, ergonomically, it's an outstanding bracelet. The gaps between the links, the broad channels underneath, ensure that this one's not going to pinch skin or pull hair. And Omega continues to make some of the best clasps in the business, especially for those who are enthusiasts and devotees of dive watches. Now the famed Omega dive extension, still fully milled, still feels like $1 million. This one is exceptionally crisp, and you can see that moving away from the legacy of the original Bond Seamasters, these bracelets are no longer held together by a complex system of pins and barrels. They're simply removed and adjusted using screwdrivers, so you can actually tailor the fit of this watch at home. I'll also mention that the dive extension is useful even if you never dive. I had one of these on my watch in college, and I used it over heavy winter coats during New Hampshire winters. Exceptionally useful. Now it is a milled out clasp, it is satin finished on its exterior, it uses a twin trigger deploying action, so not friction fit. This one requires positive engagement to open. It's not going to slip. The watch itself gives you the works, and I do mean the works. Start with the helium release valve. It's a signature of the Omega Seamaster Professional lines, both the original 300s and the Planet Oceans in the modern era. It's for diving in extreme environments such as diving bells. You probably never need it, but it's a fun discussion piece, and again, it is standard, unlike the helium valve in the Rolex lineup, which requires you to step up to a sea dweller from the Submariner. Moving inboard, we find what's known as the liquid metal bezel. A bit confusing because the salient characteristic of the liquid metal bezel is actually that it's made of ceramic. A beautiful gloss blue in this case. It's nicely keyed to the lacquered gloss finish of the dial. You do have a sort of amorphous metallic compound that's molded into all of the calibrated indices and the numerals. It's highly scratch resistant. It's also exceptionally impact resistant, and its key trait is that it's likely to bind to the ceramic and stay in place for the life of the watch. Now moving inboard from that nearly scratch-free ceramic bezel, effectively just as hard as the sapphire or the crystal, you can see that this is an upscale dial. Since the 2000 2005 debut of the Seamaster Planet Ocean line, Omega has made this one just a bit richer than the standard Seamaster 300s. All of the high-polished applied hour indices provide superb legibility at night. The vintage and style broad arrow, minute, and hour hands, they effectively indicate so that you can glance at this watch and see at just a glance in low light, no light, or direct light what time it is. You can also see a little bit of a heritage cue in the form of the shocks of orange that refer to the first Seamaster professionals of the 1950s. Now, one of the key traits of this caliber 8500 model with the Omega exclusive 8500 coaxial caliber is that it does feature a travel time date function. In addition to a travel time hour function, you can effectively drive the date forward or backwards as you jump time zones, moving forward or backwards in time across the dial. And you can activate that travel time function without actually stopping the balance. As you saw throughout, the seconds hand continued to tick, but this is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, so when I pull the rather meaty and wonderfully knurled titanium crown, I do stop the balance, hack the seconds. Now I can synchronize precisely to a known accurate reference time. On the back, still a rare feature for a 600-meter dive watch, a display case back with the unique 8500 coaxial twin barrel caliber. Free sprung with an amagnetic silicon hairspring, it pivots on 39 artificial rubies, and with the twin barrels in series, this watch has a robust 60-hour power reserve. Coaxial and a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, this caliber, though made by ETA, is completely exclusive to the Omega brand. You can see this Omega Seamaster Professional Planet Ocean 45.5mm edition on our website, watchyouwant.com.